In the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, Marcel Jacobs took gold in the 100 meter by running 9.80 seconds. On his social media, you see a lot of unique training styles, but his workouts are very fundamental, and I'm going to break them down to show you some of the best stuff you can take away to improve your speed. The first thing we're going to see is quad extensions. Now, these won't help transform your sprint speed, but they will develop muscle in the quad. You can look at the muscle you build in the quad as armor around the patella tendon. And the more armor you have around the patella tendon, the more elastic it can be when you lock up isometrically in the amortization phase. So this isn't the worst thing to help improve quad strength in muscle or hypertrophy to help make the patella tendon more elastic long term. And also, if he's rehabbing with any jumper's knee or any type of knee pain at all, then he can do quad-based movements to help rehab that knee with slow eccentrics. This next one's a full range of motion, goblet squat type position, but with the feet elevated to get more range of motion. This will help lengthen the hamstrings and glutes more and help with posture, so he's not compensating too much from, bad range of motion in the ankles or whatever it is. He even has elevated heels, which might actually make it a little more quad dominant. It just depends on what his goal was. This next one's like a hack squat variation where he's going for velocity actually. So he's trying to drop as fast as possible with vertical shins. So the reason why the shins are so vertical is that they'll actually transfer more to vertical sprinting, right? So more horizontal shins will be more acceleration. Vertical shins will be more max velocity or top end speed sprinting. And he's dropping as fast as possible into a vertical shin position and then exploding out to develop power and explosiveness for those positions of sprinting. And the research also shows that sprinting and lifting is very angle specific. So you want to train the angles you're going to sprint and lift from. So doing high velocity lifts and squats in those angles are really good for improving sprint speed. And next thing is repeat hang cleans. He's doing lightweight to try to explode as fast as possible. I'm not the biggest fan of this. You can do stuff like a high pull or dumbbell jump instead to get similar benefits. But if you're very proficient in your technique, then you could do this. You'll get the most benefits from a hang clean from high weight. So 90% and above, but usually anything below that is not really going to make the biggest difference in terms of power development or rate of force development. But if your technique is really good, it could. If you want to transform your sprint speed, you should try the 3-day free trial from the Speed Academy. You get 3 days for free. Try out the program, see what you like. If you don't want to continue, you could cancel at any time very easily. And you could come transform your sprint speed with me, the full program. You can also get in the Discord where we all talk in the group chat and improve our sprint speed all together. If you want a 3-day free trial, just click the link below or in the top description. Also, if you're watching this on Christmas time, there's gonna be Christmas deals and codes in the description, so check that out too. And then this next one is really interesting. I've seen a lot of this more recently on social media, the reflexive type training on the hamstrings. I'm not very educated in why people do reflexive training. The only thing that I can see it being very beneficial for is that you're kind of giving the hamstring a lot of high eccentric loading and concentric loading that you would see in sprinting without having to sprint. So sprinting is very taxing on the nervous system. So you don't want to sprint all the time because it also could be taxing on the body as well, especially when you're running 9.8. So doing this type of training can help still give the hamstring and quads and the whole entire lower limb complex a lot of loading without having to sprint and break down the body too much. Box jumps are really good. I don't use box jumps personally, but what's cool about box jumps, if you see right here, is that even though he's landing a deep squat, and I always say never to do this, the reason why he's doing this is that he's doing max effort jumps with no eccentric loading. So box jumps take a lot of stress off the joints, but you can still get a lot of max effort intent in your jumping, which is really good for rate of force development, power, all that type of stuff, right? But the box removes the eccentric landing, which is where you get the most stress to the joints. So in this type of situation where he's trying to be as fast as possible, but he's just trying to sprinkle in some jump training, that's a great idea. Now here, he's trying to get off the ground as fast as possible. When you have high hurdles, it's more acceleration dominant, and when you have low hurdles, it's more ankle dominant, which is more for max velocity. So these high hurdles are very good for your acceleration sprint speed, and doing repeats are really good because you're adding momentum to the plyometrics, which is really important for improving the stress shortening cycle. Doing long jump type training, long jump drills like this and bounding drills are really good for improving your max velocity and your acceleration. So yes, this seems very unique, but honestly it's very fundamental training just with some new stimulus that can challenge the brain and nervous system to hit new positions and hit new type of forces and land in unique type of ways, right? So it's really good. Backwards med ball throws, I have this in the Speed Academy, really good for developing power but low load to the body. I think you're starting to see a very important trend here is that everything he's doing, even these bounds that seem very intense, they're all low load on the body. So he's doing high power movements, high elasticity movements on boxes, jumping on boxes, instead of sprinting, he's doing reflexive hamstring work, which is less load to the body. He's doing a lot of high power stuff, but low load on the body so you can stay as fresh as possible and keep the body from breaking down too much. That's a big key with this training I'm noticing. Med ball stuff, you could do high pulls, you could do just bounding or broad jumps, but that's a lot of load on the body. Now here, this is fundamental speed training. It looks like he has acceleration here. So this is banded acceleration. I talk about this all the time. Banded acceleration is one of the best way to improve acceleration and your explosive start, which is the most important thing for sprinting in my opinion. So he's doing that with very heavy resistance. If this was a sled, it'd probably be more like 20-30% because you're really fast. But if you're a little bit on the slower end, then 10 to 20% is probably the best way to do your sled resistance. And then right here is just max effort sprinting. He probably has a timer. I don't even need to see it. I bet he has a timer somewhere, some type of FAT. So he's always trying to improve his time. Or he could be working on technique. Oh, yeah, it seems like he has a GPS tracker, actually. I think. Oh, no, FAT timer. So you see these little yellow cones? These yellow cones are FAT timers. So he's timing his sprints, making sure he's beating his time every single time, trying to get a 20-meter PR, a 30-meter PR, and trying to beat it every single sprint with high rest to improve sprint speed. This is the meat and potatoes of sprint speed. This next thing is a step tracker, really good for improving technique subconsciously, right? And this is just another block start, max effort, really, really good stuff. You're gonna see this a lot, right? When it comes to fundamental sprint training, all you're seeing is max effort sprints, right? You're gonna see a lot of plyometrics, you're gonna see a lot of box jumps, bounding, hang clings, all high power movements. But at the end of the day, you can't run fast if you don't sprint fast, right? You're gonna train the central nervous system, you're gonna improve rate of force development, you're gonna improve power, elasticity, so many things by just sprinting alone that you'll get most of your gains from sprinting. And that's it. That's all you really need to do. But all these other potential exercises can help too. They're just more on the potential side than for sure improving sprint speed. This next thing is the most interesting thing. It's probably one of those viral videos you'll see on social media is this overspeed training. Let me go straight to it. This is probably the most biggest thing you'll see on social media is the overspeed training stuff. What's interesting about it is that I forgot the specific details and I used to know it, but I think because of the wind that they're taking away from this little like contraption, and I think he might have a band right here. I don't know if he has a band attached. It pretty much helps with overspeed. It's pretty much like an overspeed type of training. Not everyone has 1080s, right? Which is like the traditional overspeed, and I wouldn't suggest doing overspeed down a hill. I think it's just too dangerous for me personally. So this is an interesting way to do overspeed. I don't really understand the very specifics. I think it's mainly because he's running inside of the cage and there's no wind around it. So he gets more speed because there's no wind resistance, which is pretty much overspeed, right? So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea. Do you have to do it to improve? Do you need a car and a cage to improve or a 1080? No, you don't. You don't have to do overspeed, but it is a really cool and interesting idea to do when you have perfect technique. If your technique isn't perfect and you overstride even a little bit, you could be damaging your speed and your joints very, very badly. So you gotta be very careful over speed training. Marcel Jacobs had a great workout, but it does not matter if you do not know how to warm up correctly. So watch this video right here to learn how to warm up as an athlete.